So I wanted to make this video to address an update in production. Over the last couple of months, if you've been following the project, you know that I've been working through the animation, which includes applying the motion capture, the face capture, putting everything into scenes, blacking it out so we can start cinematography and lighting, and then I can clean up the animation and keep things rolling. So one of the things that we have found during this phase of production is that there were times where, I'd be working through the animation and you're totally drawn in to what's happening, you believe the scene. And then there were other times where there was just enough of that uncanny valley to where it totally took you out of it. And it really it pulled you out so much so that it was hard to get back into it, especially if it was a prolonged amount of time. Just the nature of the project in general, because of what it is. For a while, I was pretty just it is what it is. We're doing something new. We're doing something that's never been done. And hopefully this changes indie filmmaking for everyone. What happened though was last week, Unreal Engine released an incredible new tool that allows you to create facial motion capture with your phone. Truly from your phone. What we're doing is essentially you input a video. It can be shot on a phone, it can be shot on a professional camera, doesn't matter. It just takes that, kind of finds the face and tracks it. It's a lot like an AR filter or Snapchat filters, anything like that. It's very similar process. Cameras have something similar and actually went through a similar phenomenon. They used to do autofocus via contrast of pixels. Now there's what's called face detection autofocus, which is why I can get right up close to the camera and it can see me and I can step back, keeps me in focus the whole time. Contrast autofocus couldn't do that. Similarly, with this new tool that came out, it allows you to create really, really high fidelity facial animation like you're seeing right here. I ran a couple of tests with it. It's amazing. The problem is, because of the way that we shot this and the fact that everyone was remote and that is a feat on its own, everything about the production is still pretty new in advancements in technology. But because of that, we can't take advantage of this unless I literally re-record every scene and then I'm taking something away from the actors, which is no bueno. So what does this kind of leave us at? Well, there's something that has kind of become synonymous with breaking the uncanny valley. And it's been around for about 100 or plus years now. And that is animation. Illustrations moving in sequence to appear like film. And this is something that we need to evaluate and look at, especially because everything that we're doing, it's a lot of new technology. And we want to adopt as much of it as possible to be able to put out the highest quality thing possible on the lowest possible budget, both in terms of time and monetarily. So because this new tool is out, essentially whenever we drop this, if we dropped it in its current state, it looks outdated from last week. That's how crazy this plugin is and how much people are using it. It would immediately get people clicking out as soon as they saw a face, essentially, because of that much of a difference. People will be so used to seeing high fidelity facial capture on all characters that it's gonna really pull people away. But we can't undo all production because that would set us back 6 to 12 months, which is also not an option. So we had to think about this and look at it from all angles. And something that we've always wondered for production is whether or not to introduce AI, specifically Stable Diffusion, to be able to get a different result. And after testing it, honestly, this is the direction that we're going to go for production for a few reasons. One is the overall style. You get something that looks completely different when it's illustrated. And so, there's that aspect that will also begin to forgive a lot of anything that would feel like the uncanny valley. Suddenly, you're not even thinking about it that way anymore. I mean, look at anime, for example. They're human characters, but they don't move, they don't talk, they don't express like humans actually do. And that's the same for all cartoons, whether it looks like a Pixar film or, it looks like the old Batman cartoons. Either way, things don't move the way that we perceive them in reality. Therefore, more is forgiven and are accepted as true to that medium. So that is one reason. The other reason is we can actually take advantage of the new Metahuman Animator tool in doing this. The reason is because when you use AI, especially to train a character, you got to give it a lot of different input images. And one of the things that I can do is put a lot of different expressions on the metahuman's faces so that it can train on that. And then when the actor does a performance, all of a sudden, instead of getting something stale, it's able to accentuate those features and bring the performance out a little bit more in the illustrated style, which is really cool, if you ask me. Now, a couple of months ago, the reason that this wasn't really on the table as much was because it just wasn't consistent. Where it's at today, and knowing that we aren't going to get to this step for a few more months, it's good enough today to ship, in my opinion. Which means in a few months, when I go to do it, it'll likely not only be faster, but it'll look that much better. To which point I would rather bank on that than bank on somebody not getting pulled out of the uncanny valley. That makes sense. Now, I do know, because I posted on Reddit this morning, it has received the most 50-50 split in terms of the comments. There's been plenty of upvotes on the video. I don't know how many downvotes are on it because you can't see that on Reddit, not to my knowledge anyways. But in the comments, it's been a 50-50 split of people who either are like completely against it or people that are all for it. And there are some people who live in the middle, and that's totally okay. Something that I do want to remind everybody is, one, I'm doing this in my spare time. Weekends, after work, early in the morning, when I can fit in time on top of having a family. Two, making videos is how I make a living. I get paid to do this full time for my job. And the only reason that I get paid for this, I never went to school for it. This is a matter of me doing things like this. Is a new technology comes out, I learn it and I adapt, and I work on becoming a professional in that space. Make more money, feed my family, because I got one of those. So that's a whole other aspect of this entire thing. If I'm not using this project to learn and grow, then like I might as well just cash it in now and upload it. But that's not the case. I'm learning, I'm actively growing, I'm trying to do something great. And so because of that, with these new technologies coming out and knowing that they are going to affect my field and whether or not I have a career in the future, like, yeah, everybody's talking about how AI is going to come and steal their jobs. It's like, not if you adapt to it. Not if you adapt to it, which I'm doing, and I love it. I think this is awesome. I understand the controversies around it. I know that there's a lot of people who don't like it, but that's been every new technology that's come out and changed things, shaking things up. This is no different. So I'm learning it, I'm adapting to it, and I'm making it more accessible for people in the future, because this is still like a very early thing. AI for images and it actually looking good, it's all relatively new, and a lot of it is underdeveloped, and it's moving at a breakneck pace, but it's only going to get better, and it's only going to get more implemented into what we do. I mean, the same thing happened with even the digital camera. I'm shooting on a digital camera. That was not kosher 20 years ago. So, but yeah, that's it. I know there's going to be a little bit of a divide because of this, but just know that I'm working on creating the best thing that I possibly can to share with you all. I'm really excited to share it with you all, and I hope you all really enjoy it. It's still in the early testing phase, so if you stuck around this long in the video, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your support of the project. And yeah, more to come soon. Things are looking really good. We're in a really good place as far as timeline and getting this out on schedule, so pretty excited. And that's another thing with this. It's not going to hold up production. It can become a part of production, no problem. We had budgeted time on the back end for something like this if something went wrong or changed. So we were fully prepared to budget that into the schedule. So we'll be all good. It is going to be great because of all of the amazing people who have contributed so far and continue to contribute to the project with their talents. So that's it, y'all. So I knew that I was forgetting one point that I wanted to bring up as well. That's why, like, towards the end of the video, I looked like I was trying to think, because that's what I do. But one thing that's been brought up a couple of times is the ethical dilemma around AI. I mean, as far as it's stealing from artists, again, it's something that you do need to adapt to survive in this industry, just like anything else. But what I wanted to bring up was currently what we're working with is a data set trained on the stories from the Outlands, Apex Legends short films. So it's still like kind of in the same universe. But what I wanted to bring up was like taking screenshots and making a data set out of that is far less egregious than pulling the models from the games and using those, which everybody seems to be fine with. So yeah, that's just one thing to keep in mind is, you know, we're trying to keep this as localized to being, you know, like a diehard fan film, and we're not trying to hurt anybody in the process. So that is the little bit. It's based on Apex Legends, another property and continuation of the same universe, just in that style. So it makes it a little bit cooler, in my opinion, if you ask me. But that was it. This camera's getting heavy.